Welcome to the Commissioner's Corner for September of 2017. Sorry, somebody changed the name on me, and so I'm getting used to it.
Not us.
I'm your county manager, Scott Margo, and we're joined by your three county commissioners, Thomas Davidson, Dan Gibbs, and Karn Stiegelmeier. So we're going to start off by talking a little bit about the Peak 2 wildfire and a little bit about how that went, and then some more about just general wildfire information. So I'm going to turn it over to Dan to get started.
Sure, I'll kick it off. As many people know, July 5th, a fire broke out more or less above Red Tail Ranch. And it was quite small to begin with, and then all of a sudden the winds just got absolutely crazy and expanded to about an 80-acre fire. And at that point, it was all more or less above the Peaks Trail, kind of above the Colorado Trail as well, in that general vicinity. There was a unified command structure to put in place with leadership from Red, White, and Blue Fire Protection District, Summit County Sheriff's Department, and the U.S. Forest Service, and resources were brought in immediately to really help with the situation. The fire was initially running towards the south, towards the Peak 7 neighborhood. The Peak 7 neighborhood was evacuated. The whole town of Breckenridge was on pre-evacuation order. So pretty scary, but very luckily the winds just changed, and instead of heading towards the south, it kind of moved back towards the north. And as a result, the fire really went back down, settled down, and multiple bucket drops and multiple fixed-wing aircrafts were there to help get the fire under control, along with firefighters. Boise 8-person smoke jumper crew was luckily heading from one fire to another and kind of got rerouted, and folks were able to jump very close to the fire to get some eyes on it. But a lot of amazing partners were involved to help bring the fire down and to protect everyone. And everyone from all three fire districts were involved. The U.S. Forest Service was the lead entity. You had folks, Red Tail Ranch, the school district, right here at the high school was an incident command post. That was absolutely amazing to see how many people were brought in, about 400 people altogether. What else do we say?
Well, the community came together in so many ways. We have an amazing Red Cross group of volunteers that were quickly set up at the middle school. So many different volunteers and efforts, all of our sheriff's office, our social services, environmental health, everyone was there doing their part. Communication center. We had people from all the towns participating, and our 911 dispatchers always working and organizing everyone behind the scenes. And of course they get bombarded when something like that happens. So we needed to have other communication people able to answer the phones as we got constant calls about what was going on.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's interesting is just kind of the follow-up conversations we've had with different local jurisdictions, as well as with the Forest Service. We all realize how lucky we got that the weather did what Dan described and blew the fire back onto itself. But kind of now, what are the next steps in terms of we continue the wildfire mitigation efforts that we have? Good news is Denver Water is going to continue to fund its forest management projects with Forest Service, and so there's a lot more that is yet to come in terms of what do we do to better prepare ourselves, because really and truly we did get just incredibly lucky that the wind shifted and blew this fire back onto itself.
Yeah, and there is a ton of fuel in the forest as a result of the Beetle Kill epidemic, and so the beetles have sort of run their course, and so maybe it's a bit out of people's mind, the epidemic associated with that, but all of those dead trees are there, and that's a huge risk to the community. And so certainly we've made a lot of efforts to do a lot of different mitigation projects throughout the community, and we'll continue to work with the Forest Service on those, private property owners, and ourselves to try to mitigate as much as we can and make defensible space a chief priority.
Right.
Yeah, it's incredible. We have 156,000 acres of dead trees as a result primarily of this, bark beetle epidemic. And, in Summit County, we normally have 2 fire seasons. One is more or less early summer before we have what's called green up. And then we also have the later fire season that we're right in the middle of right now. It's when things really start drying out. We don't have the afternoon thunderstorms that we did over the summer for the most part. And it's just extremely dry. And nationally, the smoke that we experience here in Summit County is as a result of some of the other fires that are more or less northwest of us, up in Routt County, but also up in Montana, Oregon, state of California. And there's over 252 type 1, 2, and 3 incident management teams that are deployed mostly throughout the West. And
as we speak,
and folks are nervous because obviously Colorado is getting extremely dry here, but then you also have a hurricane getting ready to hit Florida, and they're going to need assistance there as well. So
in recent years we've had several fires happen at this time of year, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we tend to be much later in the year. It takes a while for our fuels to grow up and then also to dry out. And so we've had fires in October really the last couple of years. And again, been relatively fortunate with how those fires have progressed. But really it's important for folks to be vigilant. We have hunting season. And so I know one of the big issues that we've been seeing is untended campfires and folks that have left wherever they were and they haven't fully extinguished that campfire. And so making sure that you're paying very close attention to what you're doing when you're out in the backcountry and you're camping and you've got a fire, let's make sure that those things are out. Because you could think it's been extinguished and the wind picks it up and those embers are hot enough to get going and start another fire. And so that's certainly a chief cause of some of these kinds of issues. So.
Yeah.
I think it's a really important heads up. We got so lucky and we had resources that were able to be deployed on our fire. We were really lucky in many ways. And so it's time for everybody to take inventory and think about what you can do in your backyard. We've just wrapped up getting to the end of the chipping program and we had a lot of participation. Once again, it's one of the best ways to get rid of those fuels piling up around your home. And so make your plan for next year's chipping program today.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about mussels in Green Mountain Reservoir. And not like beach body mussels on the beach at Green Mountain Reservoir. So stay tuned.